Last weekend we went to the Skirball Center here in Southern California. They have a new exhibit called Blacklist, the Hollywood Red Scare. And that's all about the McCarthy hearings of the 1940s and how some writers were blacklisted because they were accused of being communists. We also saw a screening there of the documentary Trumbo about Dalton Trumbo. He was probably the most famous and renowned blacklisted film writer at the time. He was part of the Hollywood 10. These 10 guys went to prison not because they were communists, but they went to prison for contempt of Congress because they wouldn't answer any questions citing either their First Amendment rights or their Fifth Amendment rights. The film was followed by a discussion between two wonderful film experts and scholars, Leonard Maltin and Alan K. Rode, both always interesting and just a pleasure to listen to. And then there was a screening of a film that Trumbo wrote using a front. Now, if you don't know what a front is, those were guys that blacklisted writers would put the names of the scripts under a friend of theirs, their name, because no one would hire a blacklisted writer. And these guys had to work somehow, so they would front the work for the real writer. But the film they showed at the Skirball brings us to today's episode. This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy, and that's my closet full of all the stuff that I love. And today, a film noir written by Dalton Trumbo, which features a main character that crime novelist James Ellroy called the biggest pervert in film noir history. Let's check it out. The film they showed at the Skirball last weekend and that I want to talk about today is The Prowler. It's from 1951, a brisk 90 minutes long, beautiful black and white. Dalton Trumbo wrote the script for this. He did direct one film, and that's back there, Johnny Got His Gun, based on his own novel. And I was going to talk about that one. I haven't seen that one yet. And there are a few reasons why I want to talk about The Prowler today. This is about a woman who calls the police. She believes there's a guy prowling around outside her house. And these two cops show up. And one cop seems to be a little infatuated with her. And, well, you know, she eventually falls for him too. There's just one little problem. Her husband's kind of in the way. And no more spoilers. I'm not going to say anything, any more plot details, that is, about this film, because so much of the fun is just seeing the weird places it goes to. The cop is played by Van Heflin. He's very creepy in this, like this manipulative, basically sociopathic guy who can just lie to people's faces, and he seems normal and totally believable and likable. Eddie Moeller, the czar of noir, I've talked about before, he calls Van Heflin one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood. He has over 60 acting credits. I'm not too familiar with his other work, but he's played in a lot of different genres. The woman he falls for is played by Evelyn Keyes. She had a couple of interesting ex-husbands. She was married to filmmaker John Huston, and then also to bandleader Artie Shaw. This is a complex character she's playing here. She's this lonely woman, pretty well off. She wants to remain loyal to her husband, but she can't help falling for this more dangerous Van Heflin character as well. She's been in several film noirs, many films. One in particular I like is The Face Behind the Mask that I did an episode on previously. Both Heflin and Keyes are excellent in this film. The director was Joseph Losey. He was supposed to be questioned by the House Un-American Activities Committee, and before he was scheduled to testify, he said, you know what, I'm out of here. Went to Great Britain and worked there for several years. He's made several films. The only ones I'm really familiar with are Mr. Klein and X the Unknown. He directed a remake of M also. Dalton Trumbo, like I said, wrote this using a front, and he's written a lot of wonderful screenplays. He wrote Spartacus, he wrote Papillon, he wrote Roman Holiday, Gun Crazy, which is back there somewhere, and also He Ran All the Way, another film noir that I liked. I also want to mention, just as a trivia note, The assistant director was Robert Aldrich, who went on to direct The Dirty Dozen and the original Longest Yard and Flight of the Phoenix, among other films. And I did an episode on Flight of the Phoenix if you want to check that one out. The Prowler has everything you really want in a good film noir. First of all, it has that feeling of doom and dread and fate hanging over the whole film. Once that cop shows up later on the same night to check in on her, you know that he's infatuated with her. You're not sure about her yet, but you just know things are not going to go well once you're associated with this guy. There's also, like I said before, a main character who's very sleazy and manipulative and kind of perverted. He gives a speech later in the film where he's very emotional, and he says how everybody's just a cheater. The bankers cheat you, and the local mechanic cheats you, and politicians cheat you. It's a very pessimistic, noirish view of the world for sure. There's also a LA location, including a Spanish-style house that the Evelyn Keyes character lives in, and that kind of reminds me of Double Indemnity, even though it's a bigger house in that film. They even go to the desert at one point, a ghost town that is a little outside of Barstow. If you've ever driven from LA to Las Vegas, you know what Barstow is. It's kind of a town in between there. It's got some great noir themes, adultery. It's got a murder. It's got a very, very downbeat ending. And it also has a sense of paranoia that the two people, the main characters, are experiencing throughout the film once they get involved with each other. It has some nice visual moments as well, noirish visual moments here and there, and some really hard-hitting dialogue, mainly from the Van Heflin character. And yes, somebody gets slapped a couple times, and you know that that's got to happen in a film noir, right? So my rating for The Prowler is going to be 5 cops out of 5. What's on this disc? This is a VCI disc. It was restored, this film, by the Film Noir Foundation, as you can see there, in the UCLA as well. Apparently, they worked a long time to get this thing restored and try to find elements they could work with. There's a documentary about the film. That's about 25 minutes long. It's very good. There's a little demonstration of how they restored films. It's about 10 minutes long. And there is audio commentary, which I did not listen to, by Eddie Muller himself. So if he's doing it, I'm sure it's worth listening to because he's so knowledgeable and interesting. Where can you find this? You know, I was looking around for this for a long time. I bought it a long time ago, and it was unavailable. Then it came on sale again. Then it went out of sale, and just all over the place. So I finally grabbed it for like 15 or 20 bucks. I looked on Amazon this morning. They want $99 for it. So I'm guessing it's out of print, or it's just, you know, supply and demand. It's just hard to find. So, but the good news is I think you can see this on YouTube for free. And they do show it when they have film noir festivals. If you're in one of those cities where they have those, they often show The Prowler there too as well. You can also rent this one. Just be sure if you're going to buy or rent it, you're getting the 1951 film, The Prowler. There's another one made several years later that's more like a horror film, I think. So there's for The Prowler. Feel free to leave a comment or suggestion down below here. I would like to thank the following people who left comments since our last episode: Tina, Martin, Michael, JD, Sam, and the Dative Case. Thank you all for leaving comments on various episodes. Leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. Last time I looked, we were 1 subscriber away from our goal of 475. So feel free to subscribe and share this. I want to thank our new subscriber, by the way. I think it's IMMRat. I'm not sure how he or she wants that explained. Follow us on Letterboxd too. That's free. There's a link down below. We're under the Kazdoy Closet. And Mrs. Kazdoy Closet's been away for a few days, so I've been going film crazy and posting a lot of brief reviews of stuff I've seen lately, including American Psycho I watched again, and Beau is Afraid I saw in the theater. So if you want to see my thoughts on those films, check it out there. Otherwise, hope you like this one. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.